things. You're too naive to be here. Why would he like you? Come on now, really. Look at you. You think that he's impressed? Don't be a dummy. Come.
What's the word with my grandson?
You get it?
No, I just want to go up just in case.
Okay. So you turn it off.
Yeah, I can do that.
Hello, guys and gals.
You can just toss that hoser out on the sidewalk out there. I'll take care of it.
All right, Brad. Cool. Thanks. Rochelle, I am deeply apologetic. I'm so sorry we missed each other this morning. I missed you. It's all my fault. I take the blame. We'll coordinate a time to definitely meet up ASAP.
That works.
Cool. Well, guys, I'm gonna jump right into it. So we are trying to meet you all where you're at and try to get through a coaching call in less than an hour, because we understand that it's 2022 and we all have places to be and things to do. The topic of today's discussion is going to be on lead generation, which at the end of the day is probably the most important thing any newer agent could ever attend, because we talk about lead generation, we hear the term, but we don't always understand what it really means, or we don't understand how to go about it. And so, and I'm 4 years in, and I got to say, like, it helps me be reminded of the different avenues that are out there to generate leads for my business. I'm 4 years in to my real estate business, and I've kind of settled into some things that I really like doing. So the things that I've settled into are social media. I post every single day. That may not be where you're at right now. Maybe you're comfortable posting once a week. Maybe you're not comfortable posting at all. I've also settled into hosting events. This week, we actually held an investor seminar where we had 3 investors that I know of, 2 investors and 1 lender, come and talk to all of our sphere, our database. We had 22 people attend, and it was a good event. We had it hosted, and we'll talk about events later, but I enjoy doing events because I like to have fun doing this whole real estate thing. Other things that we've settled into are contacting our sphere and our database. Those are things that I kind of specialize in, but what we're going to focus on here today is a whole list of different opportunities that we all have to generate leads, which will generate business. So can somebody tell me what their interpretation of lead generation is? What do I mean when I say lead generation? It's going to be awkwardly silent until somebody speaks up.
The things we do to find clients.
There you go. It's that simple. So now that we know what lead generation is, why don't we do it? We're really good. And this is my human tendency, as well as most newer agents' human tendency, is to create excuses for what else I should be doing instead of it. Hopefully you can see my screen. Can everybody see my screen? Can I get a head shake?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes.
You may have heard of Gary Keller. Gary Keller is the CEO of Keller Williams. He also wrote this big book here. It's called Millionaire Real Estate Agent. a lot of this book is dedicated to lead generation. Some of you that I've met with, we talk about lead generation in your schedule. What have you heard in regards to when you should generate leads in your business? What's the time frame of day?
First thing in the morning.
Yeah, knock it out, get it out of the way. Now, if for some reason that morning, let's say tomorrow, you're not available, maybe you have a doctor's appointment or something to go to with your kids. Don't think that you just can't lead generate that day. We should probably just push it back a little bit. The best tip that I could give anyone is to generate leads for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. In a perfect world, that would look like Monday through Friday. I like 9 to 11 personally. 9 to 11, 2 hours of dedicated lead generation time typically leads to about 20 real estate contacts. Victor, can you define what a real estate contact is? Victor, are you listening?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's a real estate contact?
A conversation about real estate, but they gotta respond.
Cool.
That makes sense.
Yep. So a two-way real estate conversation. So a real estate conversation might look like this. I'm cold calling, pretend my hand is a phone. Hello, my name's Josh. I'm with Keller Williams, and click. Okay. They hung up on me. Okay. I'm cold calling. That was me cold calling there. That's still a real estate conversation because I got it out that my name's Josh and I'm with a real estate broker. They heard me. Now, they received my call, so they heard me literally person to person. I'm counting that as a real estate contact, even though they hung up on me. The next conversation might look like, hi, I'm Josh with Keller Williams. I'm a realtor in the area, and I'm looking for a home for my buyer to buy. They love your neighborhood. Are you maybe interested in selling your home? Well, yeah, actually, me and my husband have talked about it. Okay, great. That's also a real estate contact. As you can see, the second one was way more fruitful than the first. During cold calling, you may get hung up on. Moral of the story is, though, we're going to be consistent in our effort to lead generate, and we're not going to be scared of getting hung up on. We're not going to be scared of getting maybe abrasively hung up on sometimes. We're going to fight through that. We're going to exercise our muscles, and we're going to improve. So going back to what I was saying, 2 hours a day of lead generation, Monday through Friday, will typically get you 20 real estate contacts a day. 20 times 5 equals 100 real estate contacts. If you're not doing this, I'm just going to speak bluntly, you're not putting your best foot forward. You will not be as successful in this industry as other people who are doing that. It is not rocket science at all. If you want to create excuses, you can go ahead and do that, but you can't have results and excuses at the same time. Okay. That's as abrasive as I'll be towards y'all. I want to see you succeed. And I promise you, if you just follow the open book right in front of us, that MREA book that says 100 real estate contacts typically leads to one appointment. That one appointment typically leads to business. You will make money in this industry. You will start a business. All right. My fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generating. Some of us have other jobs. Some of us have other streams of income, and maybe you don't need real estate. I would bet that your results are reflecting that because you're not maybe putting your best foot forward and focusing on what you needed to focus on. My fear of failure, so a little bit of my story, and I'm sure some of you can identify with this. I quit my job after getting my license. I did have a couple pending transactions, but otherwise I was like starting a new business from scratch. Was I scared? Absolutely. I was scared to death because I was going to be making zero consistent paychecks. It's all commission based. We all know this. So my fear of failure was greater than my fear of lead generation, meaning I wasn't going to let lead generation get in my way of being successful. Some of you may be able to identify with that you're scared of lead generating. We have on my team a weekly meeting, and one of our team members said, she still gets a little bit anxious, a little scared to cold call, but she still does it. And guess what? Normally after that first call, she's pretty good at it. Like, she's got a great script and great tonality and all that stuff. Don't let your fear get in the way. I'm here to give you a vote of confidence. If at any point this next week or tomorrow, you got a what we call a drunk monkey in your head saying you shouldn't do this, and here's an excuse that's getting in your way of lead generating, holler at me. I'd love to perk you up and just remind you why we're doing it. We're doing this because you want to make money, you want to provide for your family, yourself, you want to provide a great future, and you know that if you just do these things, you'll get there. We're going to go through, to start here, the number one lead generation source. So stick with me here. 6 core competencies of a business. Notice what number one is: lead generate. The number one thing that we're supposed to do in order to grow a business is generate leads, which is generating business. Once we generate a lead, then we capture that lead. Can somebody explain where I put that lead once I've got one?
In command.
Yeah, it's that easy. Just go to your contacts, add a new command contact, add a tag, and then maybe put them on a smart plan so you can work smarter, not harder. If you're interested, this is my segue. If you're interested in learning more about command or more about how to utilize contacts and smart plans, please attend Rachel's tech trainings each week. She is awesome. After we've captured it and put it in our CRM or our database, then we convert to appointments. How do we convert to appointments? By staying top of mind. And when the time is right for them, they reach out to us to set an appointment. The appointment is where we sit down and sign exclusive right to sell documents to sell their homes, or exclusive buyer representations if we're going to represent them buying a home. So just to paraphrase, the number one thing we should be doing is lead generating. It's our one thing as realtors. We can't be scared of it. We just need to find a way to do it and be comfortable doing it. So lead generation fears and myths. If you're wondering, this deck that I'm sharing from comes from Ignite. We actually, and this is a shameless plug, we have Ignite starting in all 3 of our market centers on May 17th, I believe it is. May 17th is a Tuesday. I will be kickstarting it for Excel. Matt Brown will be kickstarting it in one, and Tammy Ramsey will be in the other one. So please plan on May 17th. If you can make it into your brokerage, please plan on attending. Ignite is simply I believe it's a 5-week, 2 days a week course aimed at igniting your business. It is perfect for any agent in coaching. Back to the deck. Lead generation fears and myths. I think lead generation is really difficult. That's a typical fear. It's also a myth. Also, I don't have time to lead generate. I don't know what to say, or I'm not sure of the perfect script. I'm afraid of making mistakes. How many of you can identify with this? I sure as heck could, especially my first year. But if we're going to go back to this slide and remember that my fear of failing was way greater than my fear of lead generating, then these things we're going to find ways around. Let's see what the script says. I think lead generation is really difficult. It's actually more like I was confusing my effort with enjoyment. Lead generation is actually easy. It just might not be fun. I would actually say that's a myth as well. I think lead generating can be fun, but I digress. If anyone's ever done a bold 100, a reverse bold 100, those things are normally pretty fun. And you're generating great leads. Anyways, I don't have time to lead generate. The actual response to that is I had an issue making time to lead generate and protecting that time. How many of you are making excuses for why you can't? How many of you are not protecting that time because you don't actually use any sort of calendar? You're just winging it every day. I promise you, the most successful people in any industry keep a really active calendar. I've said this many times. We've actually had whole classes on this. If you're not using Google Calendar or something digital that sits in your pocket every day, then you're behind. Point blank. Time block, protect that time. Nothing else gets in the way. Next myth, I don't know what to say. The response is, I had to get on a path of mastering the dialogue skills needed in this business. I'm going to poo-poo this a little bit. I don't feel like you need a perfect script. I feel like if you can just have a normal conversation with a person, they're going to be pretty receptive to it. On the flip side, if you're reading a script and you sound like a robot, people are going to be super unreceptive to that. Can you have a natural dialogue with somebody, whether that's a cold call or somebody you already know, and make it sound like you genuinely care and want to help them? That's all you need. You don't need to know what to say, as long as you get the conversation started. Lastly, I'm afraid of making mistakes. Actually, I found that lead generation is nothing more than a set of tasks and skills that are well documented, meaning it's a system. We know what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, and how we're going to do it. This next slide is like, okay, so what's the purpose of lead generation? Well, here's you, okay? And all around you are people, okay? There's different rings. Notice the different rings here. This inside circle, these are our, when you first get licensed, I normally say, create a list of your top 50 closest people. These are your 50. These are the people that know, love, and trust you. It's family members, it's neighbors, it's coworkers, ex-clients, past clients, etc. Then outside that, you have people that kind of lie on the outline. Maybe you haven't worked with this person in a number of years, but you still kind of keep in touch, or maybe a Facebook friend. And then outside that, we have these other rings of people that we very vaguely know. Maybe I went to high school with them 20 years ago, but I really don't keep in touch at all. And then outside this whole universe is a bunch of people we don't know. Our goal is to invite them and be a magnet to try and get them closer and closer and closer to that inside ring, so that they can be a generation of business for us. I love this right here. This is called a sphere of influence, income, opportunity. Why am I talking so much about our sphere? Because that's where the majority of us will start our businesses. This is the #1 lead generation resource, and yet most of us are not tapping into that. There's somebody in coaching who actually doesn't attend a lick of calls, and I know why they're not being successful, but they sit there all day long at home and wait for their phone to ring from internet leads, when all they would really have to do to really get up and running is contact the people they already know. They already know them. Just pick up the phone, call them, get into business. So here's some stats, how they're breaking this down. So let's just say you have 250 contacts in your phone. Well, how do you find out how many contacts you have? You literally open up your contacts app, scroll all the way to the bottom, it'll tell you how many contacts you have. Multiply that times 0.081. What that's saying is that 8.1%, and this has been studied, 8.1% of your database will have a real estate need this year. So potential closing opportunities from your 250, 20. That's 20 potential deals. So let's say Patrick, everyone congratulate Patrick and Brad. They just got their licenses this week. Also, Henry's on the call. Congratulate those people. Yay. I just did this practice with Patrick. He has 500 contacts in his phone. So let's just say 8.1% of those people have a real estate need. Well, that's double. That's 40 potential pieces of business, 40 potential closings, if we just tap into that resource. Everyone's numbers are different. Then you've got potential referrals in your database. So 10% of the people that you know your 250 will have a referral opportunity for you. That's 25 additional pieces of business. So you really actually have 45 potential pieces of income. And if your average commission, let's just, it should be way higher than this here in Columbus. But if your average is 5K, then this is your income opportunity. In Kentucky, I would imagine you're probably a little bit higher than 5K as well. Regardless of what your average commission is, imagine if you closed 45 deals this year. Would you be pretty excited with like 200 to 300K? I know I would be. Golly. So all we have to do then is network and cater to our sphere, our database, our network. Now, how we do that, there's different ways of doing this. In a nutshell, though, this lead generation puts people into this funnel. Ultimately, those leads go to contacts. Those contacts, through time, you're strengthening the relationships. They funnel down here and they turn into business. Not just business that's new, but repeat business. And because they're having such a great experience, they will refer you more business. And those referrals just go right back up here into the top of the loop. You strengthen those new contacts and relationships, and you spit out more and more and more. It's exponential. I'm witnessing this. I'm in my 4th year, and I'm already seeing repeat from the same people that bought a house 2 years ago. They already need to sell again because they've already had babies and they need to grow, or they need to relocate for jobs. Because I've strengthened those relationships by doing things like hosting events, creating value for my clients, they come back to me and they send me referrals. Prospecting and marketing, there's 2 different things here. Prospecting and marketing are lead generation activities that deliver leads into your business. Prospecting is free, essentially. You should get immediate results. It requires you to be proactive, and it is time intensive. It's going to take your time. Marketing. So prospecting is essentially, think of it this way: people you don't know, namely. Marketing is for people you do know. So you're just trying to infiltrate their minds and their inboxes, their feeds, etc., with you. It requires money to do that. So if I'm printing flyers, that requires money, right? That's marketing. If I'm buying a billboard, that's going to require a lot of money. But it's passive. You can set it and forget it. You don't have to actively go do these things. You can create a billboard and let it sit there. And you're going to get long-term results from it. It might be a slow play, though. So a little slower on marketing, a little quicker on prospecting. I only kept this slide in here because I like this term, data bank. Instead of thinking of the people you know as your database, you should really be thinking of them as your data bank, meaning the more people you add to your database, the more dollars in the future you're adding. So our goal is to go meet more people. All right, a contact, again, people you've had a 2-way conversation with and whom you've established a value-based relationship with. That person you're cold calling, you can provide a value to that person. You can find them an off-market buyer. You can make their process of selling super easy. Or you can invite them to a fun event. How can we communicate with our people? The obvious one is the phone call. That's what we're all freaked out about, right? Like, how do I call somebody and talk to them? Oh my gosh. You're all really good at it. That's probably why you got into real estate. Can anyone remind us what the acronym is? Anyone who's been on a couple calls with me knows this acronym for how to small talk somebody if you are uncomfortable with how to approach a call. Anyone remember that acronym? Well, you guys are so untalkative. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Crystal. Ford, the Ford method of small talk. Okay, Ford. It's an acronym, meaning each letter stands for something. Ford, F is family. Hey, John, it's been a long time since we talked. I'm just calling to catch up. How's your family doing? Cool. How's occupation? How's your job? How's things at work? Did everything go okay through COVID? I'm just checking in. Then Lauren wrote down the R. R stands for recreation. What are you guys doing this summer? The school's about to let out. Are you excited? You got any fun vacations planned? And then D, dreaming, dreams. Let's say they do have a cool vacation. Cool. Tell me all about that. Tell me what you got planned. Like those get people excited. But ultimately what this is aimed at doing is helping you with the things that most people feel a little uncomfortable with, which is small talk. We don't know how to small talk, but if you remember this acronym, FORD, family, occupation, recreation, and dreaming, you will have some talking points that will unravel anybody. And odds are, when you get to that occupation part, when you ask them how their job's going, they're going to ask you how your job's going. And then you insert, well, real estate is going so great right now. I just closed a couple deals. I'm loving life. If you need anything, let me know. But that's a great real estate contact. Other ways of communicating: email, text message. Feel free to use technology, guys. As long as it's a two-way conversation, as long as they respond to your email or your text message, that's 1 out of 100. That's one contact. Face-to-face is definitely the best. If you can get yourself into coffee situations or lunch dates or nighttime hangouts, going to parties, going to networking groups, those are the best way to get bulk real estate contacts quickly with the people you already know. How about using the ultimate technology, which is the KW app? I don't know if you guys have played around with the KW app lately, but they've added a new feature that I think would be beneficial for y'all to see. So the KW app, it looks like a white background. I don't know if you can see it. I can't see me. Hold on a second. Okay, it's this one with a white background and a red KW. You click on it and you can actually search for homes. There's a search feature on here. You can filter and find any property. If you go to filter, you can find any property down at the bottom that is at a price reduction in the last 7 days. That's the KW app. You go in and it's search. And why is that important? Because this day and age, we need to provide value to our clients and anyone who might be a client. So anyone who's passively looking for homes, if you can give them an item like the KW app and have them download it, they can actually link that with you. So you can be in touch with them and they can look for homes that aren't flying off the shelves. Maybe we can go in even under list price. That'd be crazy. Crystal says she loves it when they actually use it. But this is a great value add for people, the KW app. Last on this page is handwritten communication. Patrick, I just encouraged you and I encourage everybody who's brand new. One of the first things I encourage you to do is highlight your top 50 people and write a handwritten letter to them. Handwritten letters don't get thrown in the trash right away. They get kept. When you include a couple business cards and a vulnerable note saying something to the effect of, I'm starting this new business. I can't lie. I'm a little concerned, but with people like you in my corner, I'm sure that I can make it. Please consider sending any referrals my way, or please consider using me if you need anything in the future for real estate. It's a good script. You should use it. All right, lead generation never ends. It never ends. I'm 4 years in and I am still trying to find ways of lead generating or making my lead generation more fun and more effective. It's best when it is time blocked, meaning you protect it. You don't let anything get in the way of your lead generation. It determines the size of your business. Your data bank determines how successful you're going to be. If you have one person in your database, how successful can you possibly be? Once that one person buys or sells, your only hope then is referrals. But if you have 10 people, you've multiplied your opportunity by 10. Actually, you've exponentially grown by 10. If you have 100, then imagine the possibilities. And our goal is to get you to at least 300 contacts in your database. 300 contacts should lead to a plethora of business opportunities. And our goal is to never stop. We always want to be adding people to that database. So what is categorized by your database or your sphere of influence? This list right here. I'm not going to read through all these. Y'all can read. But the things I've listed earlier, friends and family are great. That's where you're going to get most of your business from. Don't forget about hobbies and sports groups. If you or your children are involved in sports groups, use those. Volunteer for the group. Bring snacks. Ask for a list of the parents. Better yet, coach, and then you get all that information and you don't have to ask anybody for it. I coached my son's basketball team, and every email that I sent them wasn't from my personal account. It was definitely from my business account because I wanted everyone to know that I was in real estate. And guess what? At practices and games, when people came up to me, they would say, I didn't realize you were in real estate. Oh, yeah. They saw on my email signature. Think of creative ways we can get in information from people. Teachers. I equate this to PTO organizations. Worship. Don't discredit your church. Volunteer. Be a member of that community, and I promise you, you'll be rewarded. Even real estate agents. Now, that one seems a little counterintuitive, doesn't it? How can real estate agents help us grow our business? Referrals. Thank you, Crystal. Y'all know you can unmute. I love it when you unmute, but thank you, Crystal, for responding. Referrals. True story, this past month, I probably made 15,000 GCI from 2 referrals that I never would have met these people otherwise. One referral was from Cincinnati. One referral was from Arizona. How'd I get the referral? Command. Be present on command. Update your bio, you'll get referrals. Okay. Keys, track your lead sources. This goes back to what we covered maybe a month or two ago, like how I track all of our numbers and how I track our business. We color code things. So how did I get this lead? How did I get this closing? Was it from my sphere? Was it a referral? Was it through social media, an open house, etc.? Audit your lead sources. So if you're 6 months in and you've tried cold calling for 6 full months and you've actually given it a fair shake and it's produced nothing, number one, I'd challenge you because you probably haven't given it a fair shake. You're probably poo-pooing it or have a negative mindset around it. And so you're not giving it a real honest fair shake. If you've tried something for 6 months, then you've and diligently tried it and it's not working, audit that. Say, okay, maybe I need to tweak some things. Maybe I need to tweak my scripts or the time of day that I'm doing it or the calls that I'm making. Who am I calling? If after 6 months, though, you really feel that you hate it and it's just not working and you actually have given it a fair shake, then move on to something else. Number 3 here is diversify your database. You should not all be doing one thing. You should be doing multiple things. I'd encourage you to try and pick 3 different lead generation resources. And lastly, we can't hammer on this enough, be consistent. Monday through Friday. If something comes up on a Monday and you can't do it, go to Saturday, go to Sunday, go door knock on Sunday, go door knock on Saturday. You'll find better answer rates anyways. Some things just real quick, and then we're going to move on to some different options for lead generation outside of your sphere. Prepare with a positive mindset. We've had several classes on mindset, and just positive affirmations go a long way. Talking yourself up, saying, I'm going to do great things today. I'm going to do great things today. I'm going to do great things today. You're going to start to believe it. There's a mental rut in your mind that you can start to reshape with positive thinking. Practice your script before you call. Don't worry about sounding goofy. Do this all at your house if you need to, or in the shower, whatever. Prepare your call list. Make sure you got the right numbers to call. lately, our team's been calling for sale by owners. Well, make sure you have the right information. Make sure you know where to go to get those. Maintain your database and follow up. Follow up is where the money's made, guys. You can't connect with a person one time and expect them to go with you, especially if it's the first time you ever talked to that person. You must follow up. So you need a system in place for that. Lastly, if you're working at home or if you're working in an office, build a bunker so that you can protect that time and have clear mind. Somewhere quiet would be great. I work in an office here at the Excel office, and I can't lie, I got some crazy rascals across the hallway who are loud. I can't concentrate all the time. I should be building a better bunker. Store provisions up. So if you need a snack, go grab one. Store it up in your office and lock yourself in. Sweep for mines. What might be mines that would get in our way? Well, that's easy. Text messages, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, alerts, kids, cats, dogs. Close the darn door. Protect your space. And then enlist support. If you are having trouble protecting that space, hate to say it, but go hire a babysitter, go hire a nanny, go hire somebody that can help you for cheap, or enlist friends and family to help you. All right, I'm going to stop sharing that. Hopefully this has been good conversation about your sphere, lead generation with your sphere. Now we're going to talk about actual things that you can go do to generate additional leads. All right, 1 second. 27 different things here. We're going to talk through some things. And if you want, I can send you maybe a screenshot of this. Okay, so sphere of influence, how can we use these different lead gen platforms? Well, we can ask for repeat business or referral business, so we keep in touch with those people. Client and charity events. My team and I, we do, I'm just going to show you. Hold on a second. My team and I, we do one event every month. Here's an open book test. If you want to steal shamelessly at what we do this year, here's the plan. I made this plan in November last year, I think. In January, we did a bus driver appreciation event. I budgeted $500 for it. I think we got a sponsor to help us out. It was less than that. In February, we did a reverse bold 100. This was an event. We invited people to call in return, we gave them a massive gift card. We gave them chocolate covered strawberries. The cost ended up being, I think it was free, $500, but it was offset by my vendor, who's my inspector, and it was free. We ended up getting a bunch of calls and some leads. In March, we did a March Madness bracket challenge. We also did a home buyer seminar. Guess what? That home buyer seminar has already turned into one in contract. We invited somebody that Victor met at an open house, and they came and we got into a relationship with them. We taught them, we provided value to them, and now they're in contract. Good job, Victor. In April, we did an Easter egg hunt. It was awesome. We had the Easter bunny. It was awesome. In May, we're going to do a teacher appreciation event, but this week we did a investor panel and had a great turnout. Everyone loved it. We're going to do cookout for the homeless. This is giving back. This is a charity type item. Don't be afraid to diversify all these events. You don't have to do one event a month, by the way. If you're new, start off with one for the year. I've just found that I love doing this stuff because it gets me out of the office and it gets me in front of people. We're going to do a big backyard party. I'm excited about that one. I got my lawn in shape. We're going to do a back to school supply drive. Again, giving back. We're going to do another bold 100 in September. One thing we do every single year, fall family photos. It's probably the #1 most well-received thing I ever do. And I only invite my VIP clients because they refer me business out of these things. They then use those photos that I give them for free to print Christmas cards, etc. And then one lightweight thing we're gonna do is do Halloween costume social media event where we ask people to send us their pictures or tag us on their pictures of their kids, and we'll give out an award to whoever gets the most votes for best costume. We're gonna do 12 days of Christmas to wrap up the year. 12 days of giveaways, and we've already got 3 vendors in line. We're gonna ask for more as the year proceeds. So that is how we use events. Other things, we've had whole classes on social media. I'm not going to go back into social media. You guys can review those videos, but we post every single day. If you are struggling currently to post or you are scared of it, no worries. I identify with you. My first year, I was scared to death of social media because I used it so sparingly. And then year 2 came along and I said, I got to do something to change my business. Because what I did last year is only going to get me to repeat what I did last year. So for us, it means having a system in place where Monday, we know what we're posting. Tuesday, we know what we're posting. We diversify our posts so that it's not all the same old stuff. We change it up. And now we're starting to get business out of it. Victor actually just closed a deal with somebody who I hadn't talked to in 5 years. But I was Facebook friends with. One day he gets on Facebook and says, hey, Josh, I see you're doing social media. Can you show me some houses? Sure, man. He would have never known had I not been posting. And don't be afraid of using different platforms, and don't be afraid to just start with one. Just start with one. If you're cool on Twitter, go to Twitter, post some content. For me, it's Facebook and Instagram are my number one. LinkedIn is more professional. But I have fun with it now. I'm not scared of it anymore. And I know that it turns into dollars. Content marketing. So you could email newsletters. You could email invitations to the events. The reason I like events so much is because I get so many real estate touches out of it, real estate contacts, because number one, you send out a mass flyer, email, text, phone call if needed. You do an Eventbrite. You do a social media post inviting them to the thing. That's 5 touches, and we haven't even got to the event yet. The week leading up to it, anyone who's RSVP, that's another touch. I'm going to talk to them and make sure they're still coming. The day of the event, we're going to send a reminder out. We're also going to send reminders out to anyone who hasn't signed up. The day of the event, I see them. The day after the event, I thank them. The day after the event, we post a social media post appreciating all the vendors. That's 10 touches out of one event. It just makes sense. SEO stands for search engine optimization. This is something you'd likely have to pay for, and it can be very expensive. But if you wanted to be the first search result on the internet for realtor in Owensboro, Kentucky, you can pay for that. You can also blog if you like that. I couldn't tell you how to even begin doing that. YouTube, though, I do know how to do that. Videos, you'll get comfortable with it over time, I promise. Hustling. Door knocking is fun, especially this time of year. Open houses are probably the best way for you to generate new business. If you are not signing up for open houses, you're doing yourself a disservice. I promise you. Open houses win. Hey, Victor, are you there still?
Yes, sir.
Hey, can you just give us 1 minute on your open house success, just real quick?
Yeah. So I pretty much do any open house I get the chance to. Now, I wasn't really a believer at first, but I know somebody that at Capital Partners, and his first 2 closings came from open house. So I was just doing a lot of open houses, and then I did an open house in Hilliard on Lakefront, I think, and they came in. They, like, a lot of people take your cards and stuff, but they actually came up to me and said, basically, how does this go? And I knew I had them from there. Like, they didn't know anything. Then right on the spot, I knew we had an event coming up, so I invited them to our event. And then when they showed up, and then I created a search for them, and we started going to see homes and got them in contract. I only showed them maybe 6 homes, but it was like in 2 weekends. Got them in contract. And then I still do open houses every weekend to try to get more buyers. So
tooting Victor's horn a little bit more, Victor just capped. He he capped. So huge congratulations. And why is he capping? Because he's doing this word right here. It's called hustling. He's getting his his 100 real estate contacts in every week religiously. He's pounding the pavement. He's door knocking when needed. He's calling for sale by owners. He's doing the things that it's an open book test about. And he's winning. He's a good model to follow. Get into open houses, please. Even if you don't quite understand how it works, holler at me. I got a video for that, and I'll be happy to talk to you through it. For
I have
sale
a question of clarity, Josh.
Yes.
So when you say do open houses, to me, that means something different than what it sounds like. So are you meaning doing other hosting open houses for other agents? Do you mean doing your open houses for listings that you may have, or just going to open houses that are available in your area?
No. So thank you for asking that question. I'm glad you asked. So holding an open house is actually hosting the open house. You're the agent in the house when the open house is occurring. What happens during go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, and I don't do them like I don't do them, but it don't matter who the agent is. If it's my listing, I hold it. I hold my own open houses. I hold Josh's, I hold the Romanelli's. Anybody in my office needs to open the house, I'll do it.
Yeah, so the answer to your question is you are the host. You are the host of the open house, and therefore anybody who comes in who's unrepresented is coming to you because you're the only realtor in there.
Right. Thanks.
Cool. So if you don't have listings, which most of us don't, guys, it's number one, listings are few and far between right now, but also we're new. We don't have a ton of listings. So ask your office, get on your Facebook page and volunteer. Say, if anyone needs help with an open house this week, I'd love to help you, or I'd love to host it for you. Be proactive, be hungry, and hustle. I promise you it'll pay off. My first year, I definitely tried to host as many as I could. Did definitely close on one, at least one my first year. So it will be fruitful. Use your networking resources, such as existing landlords. Why not call landlords who may be sick and tired of their renters? Call renters and see if they need to move out into a house. Vendor referrals. I love this one because most of the time you need to create a Rolodex of people such as electricians, painters, plumbers, etc. Just today, Amanda was asking if I knew of a basement person, and coincidentally, we had a basement person come on about 6 months ago to talk about us, to talk about basements and stuff with us. And I have that person in my network and Rolodex. Hopefully in the future, that person might send me a referral. This person won't because his wife's a realtor, but I look like an all-star to my clients when they say, do you know of an electrician? Do you know of a plumber? Yeah, I do. Let me get you in touch with them. Schmoozing. Go to networking events. Schmooze. Do you not know how to schmooze? Go back to the Ford method. Family, occupation, result. Hey, man, I see you leaning up against the bar. My name's Josh. How you doing? What do you do? Okay, then the sky's the limit on where that conversation goes. Why not go to builders? Victor did this when he first got licensed. He started filming videos of new builds. Foreclosures, those are kind of hard to find right now. Relocation companies, why not getting good with relo companies? They might put you in their Rolodex. You can buy paid ads. If you got the money, feel free to spend it, but let's talk before you go spending crazy amounts. PPC stands for pay per click. You can do internet advertising all day for money. You can do Facebook ads. You can do them through command for pretty cheap and get legit leads through those. Direct mail, etc. And then we end with farming. We've had whole conversations about farming before, so we're not going to go too far into it, but there are so many different things that you can do. So as a reminder for me and my team personally, I do social media as one, events as two, and repeat and referral. So actually these first three things are what I focus on. But there's a whole world out there of other things. And this list is not all inclusive. There's other things that we haven't even talked about. End of the day, you got to be a person of action. You must do the work in order to earn the reward. We start with time blocking. We get it done daily. The first call is always the hardest, or the first text, or whatever you're deciding to do for the day. The first door knock, it's always the hardest. But once you've done it once, I promise you, every single one after that gets easier and easier. And you might just find you enjoy doing certain things that you didn't think you'd do before. All right. I'm going to stop talking. What questions, comments, ideas, other things that you're doing that's working, not working? Let's chat.
All right, Josh, I got a question. So after I do my walkthrough with my listing client, what's the first thing I should do?
After you do, so a person is considering listing their home with you?
Correct.
Well, I try to lock them in at that appointment with an exclusive right to sell contract.
That's already done. I'm gonna be the listing agent on the condo. I just want to know after I after I do the walkthrough, talk about things we might want to do to fix up the house. What's the next thing I need to do?
Yeah, I like to go home and I do all that digitally. So this is a little off topic, but I take notes on my app, on the notes app on my phone. And then I send them, when I get home, I send them that checklist of things that they should be doing so they have a reminder, and so that I can follow up with them maybe a little closer to the time that they list. The next thing I also do while I'm at the listing appointment is always ask them, how much do you still owe on the home? Almost everyone knows. They'll tell you. And then when you get home, you can do what's called a net to seller sheet. And you can send them that so they can understand approximately how much they will make after paying taxes, fees, commissions, etc. And then after that, it's just following up as we're getting closer to listing. If there's anything that you need to do to jump in and help, if there's any vendors you need to align to get in there and help. Otherwise, you schedule photography, get that professional photography done. Professional photography. If any of you on this call ever take a cell phone photo and list that, I'm gonna come find you. Professional photography makes a world of difference. I'll tell you a true story here. I just listed a home yesterday out in the country, and I'll be honest, I was scared because we didn't get too much traffic on it. I had to sell this thing quick because we're in contract on another home for these people. There was another home listed 2 doors down. The photography, I paid a little bit extra for aerial photos and for really nice professional photos. The other people just had some stale, crappy photos that they probably took themselves. I'm in contract 24 hours later and they aren't. Photos make a huge world of difference. So pay the piper. If you need recommendations on who to go to, Jason, I got you. Don't use a buddy because they'll give you a deal. Make sure you vet them really well. Look at their portfolio. If their portfolio doesn't wow you, then they're not the right photographer. My photos cost about $150. It's well worth it because you're gonna use it in all your marketing. Anyways, after photography, then you're just gonna follow up on people as you're getting closer to listing to make sure they're getting done with things. You'll list it in the MLS as early as possible, up to 30 days ahead of time. You can do coming soon. And then it's all about marketing that thing. So we can talk more, Jason, or we can have a whole class on this in the future. Maybe one of those group choice conversations. Good question.
I will ask a question. So, so far I have closed 3 buyer transactions. I have 1 listing and I have 1 buyer that's under contract. We're in the inspection phase. My listing, it has not performed in the way that I thought it would perform because it's been on the market for a lot longer than what's, appropriate for this market. And I am preparing to meet with the sellers again to kind of talk about price improvements and our strategies. And I'm just wanting to know, like, I've redone the net to seller. I've made some adjustments, reflecting, taking out some things like buyer's home warranty, the lower sale price and all of that good stuff. And I'm just like, what else do you recommend I do? Because we did have a conversation up front with what I recommended to list at based on the comps. But of course, they're not always privy to that because in their mind, they want to walk away with a certain amount. So I talked them down off the cliff, but I wasn't able to talk them down to the price that I suggested that we list at. And now they can see what that has done, right? Because it's not performing. So any advice or anything additional you think I should do?
I would actually do nothing additional other than pull up your comps again, especially your most recent ones, and show them the proof. Say, hey, here's what homes are selling for that are similar to yours. We are priced way over that. A home doesn't sell for 3 reasons. Either the home is not being marketed, meaning you're not on social media, you're not calling around the neighborhood to try and drum up interest, you're not door knocking, you've got to be out there pounding the pavement from time to time. Or it's not accessible. So homes don't sell because it's not marketed, they're not accessible, meaning they won't approve showing requests, or it's like tenant occupied, no one can see inside. Well, that's hard to sell a house that way. Or pricing. It sounds to me like it's probably the pricing issue. In this market, if it hasn't sold, it's a pricing issue. So I go equipped with that information. Then I just show them the blunt facts. Say, hey, if we want to sell this thing, time is money. Like the more time this stays on the market, the more somebody's going to be unwilling to pay the price that we ask. So we've got to take a price reduction. And if they're not going to do it, Crystal, I know no new agent and no existing agent, like I've been in 4 years, I don't want to ever fire a client. But at some point, if it's exhausting your time and effort and they're not willing to budge, how is it ever going to be a win? How's it ever going to close? It just won't. So if they're not willing to do what is required, then give it a little bit of time, see if somebody comes through with an offer. But the proof is in the pudding. I always say in the first week, we should have a minimum of 10 showings and 1 or 2 offers. If that's not happening, you're behind. So CMA, do a quick CMA updated to show what people are buying homes for in the area, and just show them the stats. That's all.
Okay. Yep, I redid the comps, pulled some updated information, kind of talked with the daughter of the mom, who's the actual seller, and just, kind of brought her up to speed. And we're just dealing with the stubborn mom right now. So she's kind of dead set on this is what she wants. But so we're just trying to strategize together to get her to see it differently. But yeah, 2 of those things have definitely impacted the sale. There was a period of time where some family issues arose and they were not accepting showings and all of that stuff. And so I had to decline a lot of them. We may have missed the mark, we may not have, because at the end of the day, I do believe that it's overpriced. So that may or may not have been, the end all be all.
It's the hardest conversation to have because no one wants to be told they're going to make less money. Especially in this market, people think that the sky's the limit on what they should be able to make. And it is, as long as you price it right out the gate. And we didn't do that. And now we have to course correct. If they don't want to course correct, then we're going to head towards that iceberg.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck. Let us know how it goes. Right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? We got 2 minutes. Well, we've got some good attendance this week, and I love seeing the brand new agents on here, guys. Keep attending. Hopefully this is beneficial for you. Even if you've been an agent for a while, it's probably good to hear that people identify with your plight. It's not always easy. Even if you've been in it for a long, long time, the hardest call is the first call. But I promise you, once you get through that, you're going to keep growing your business. You've got to add more contacts to your database. The only way to do that is to have more conversations. So get out in front of people, go market, go prospect, get into business. Thank y'all. See you soon.